right, just one second. I'll do one more thing before we record. Okay. Hey, this is John Klebnick. This is our ACT webinar on new features in ACT 2013. And I guess we'll spend about 30 minutes on this. We'll go over some of the new features that are in part of the ACT software, and we'll do some demo and take some questions. And my goal is to have you out of here by a little past the bottom of the hour. Our company, Tandem, we do consulting, training, hosting of ACT, and we sell you ACT if you'd like it. And if you have an older version and would like a quote, certainly be glad to give that to you. I'll go over some of the pricing of that later on. I'm going to skip past this because if you haven't heard, Sage is in works to sell ACT to a company called SwiftPage out of Denver. And SwiftPage is the company that does the e-marketing of ACT. And all of us guys that sell, support, and work with ACT are really excited because we're going to go from a company that grew by mergers and acquisitions and about 190 different products to compete with to a company that has a couple products. And it will be very focused, and we're just really excited. That should close sometime in April. So Sage is going away for us, but a lot of the features, you know, the whole organization is transferring to SwiftPage, and the consultant structure, the hosting structure, everything is typically going to be the same. This is us. We've done hosting for ACT for about 6 or 7 years now. As Adam used to know, we've got a vertical in the mortgage industry, so we've customized ACT for mortgage and so on. We can work with folks in just about every industry. But the nice thing about ACT is it is industry agnostic, meaning we can make it wrap around almost any industry that we have. So if I've got construction or insurance or mortgage or product sales, it's very easy to manipulate that. And then kind of what we've done, taking it one step further, we've made the program device agnostic, so it works with our hosting on Macs and tablets and iPhones and so on. And so we also kind of minimize the level of technical expertise you have to have. We put your ACT program in if you want. We can put your QuickBooks, your QuoteWorks, your Microsoft Office all in the cloud, and you can get to that from any device. So that's kind of who we are, what we do. ACT is kind of the control panel for your small business, and it's been around for 25 years. It's not the first time we've seen it change owners. It was with Symantec until about 2000, and then Best Software purchased it, and then Sage acquired Best around 2002 or 2003. So we're not terribly concerned. It's been a very stable, robust product, and it's got a lot of changes, and we'll talk about those right now. Like I said, it's your business command center. You think about ACT as your command center. It sets up relevant relationship details, connects you. You know, for me personally, this is probably the most important business tool I own. More important than my phone system, my office, anything, because everybody I've talked to for the last 13 years is in my ACT database. So that allows me to remember I talked to somebody 6 years ago when they worked in a different industry, and what we talked about last, and where you live and all that stuff, because I've got it all in ACT. And everybody that's ever been to a webinar, that's been to a trade show or called us for help, we put it in, and we've gotten a great database for helping people now. And integrates with Microsoft Office, integrates with social media. We'll talk about some of that today. There's integration with some accounting solutions. We'll talk about a couple of the other new things that are part of Sage ACT. And I'm going to go past this because I don't think, well, let's try it. I don't think I have audio set up for this little guy. I don't, so next time. The only reason I would show that is it's kind of a neat way to see kind of what ACT does in a box. Here you see ACT out of the box, the screenshot, and we'll kind of do our little workspace tour here. But the purpose of it, to keep customer contact info, associated notes, histories, activities, documents, sales opportunities, and social media all in one place. And it does something that Outlook doesn't do, that Excel doesn't do, that your paper binder doesn't do. And it competes very well with high-end solutions that are many times more expensive. So bang for the buck right here, it's great. And then the other thing is we have more people on our team. We've got groups with users up to 50, 100 or more that use the same database at the same time. So as soon as one makes a change, the other guys see it right away. And it's really great. If somebody calls me and they were talking to somebody else on my team, right away we can see them and see what we talked about, and we don't have to appear too ignorant. So in looking in here, I'll kind of zip through here and I'll show you live, but we've got contacts, companies, groups, activities, a task list, which lets me see activities in a tabular view, a dashboard, sales opportunities, all of these different views inside of ACT. And it's what's called a contact-centric database. So it revolves around a person, but we can have additional entities like groups, companies, sales opportunities that give us kind of a one-to-many relationship between the two. And I'll show you this in the live one. Let me kind of flip over and give you the live demo here. So you see I did change some of the colors, and it's not terribly hard to do that, but I changed that. In fact, you can have different layouts, so I can go back and pick a different layout view to see things, and this is customizable for different users. All right, so inside here, here's our different views. The first thing we have is a contact view. Contact view is a person. So if I'm looking for somebody, I might go here and type in Melissa. And all you need is part of her name. You type in Melissa, and there she is. First, last, city, state, zip. And double click, and here's my Melissa. And now once I'm here, I can see things that I have. Like for example, under notes. Notes are typically a good place for background information, for team communication. It's not the place where you would put, so-and-so, we talked to so-and-so about this, and they're going to talk to us again next year. It's not a place for that. History is a better place for that because it allows me to, within recorded history, I can record what we talked about, who we talked about. I can schedule a follow-up. Follow-ups are under activities. And so here you see I have an activity in the future with Melissa. If I've got a deal that I'd like to track with Melissa, then you'll see that here. If I want to make a new one, I just right-click and I can choose new opportunity. The right-click button here inside of ACT gives me a lot of choices for new contact, duplicate contact, delete a contact, schedule a meeting, schedule a phone call, write a letter, just a lot of things under the right mouse click. The activities, so that's opportunities. If I wanted to make a new one, I would take a right click and go right to that, or I can go to the opportunity view and I can see my different opportunities. Nice thing about the opportunity view is I've got a detail and I've got a list view for this. And so if I wanted to see, for example, here's this quote for Dan at Diango Consulting, double click. And there it is. If I want to make changes to it, I can. So this is the detail. If I want to go see, oh, who's Dan, I can click on Dan's record. This takes me to the contact view. Then I can go back and double click on the opportunity. It goes back to the opportunity view. So it kind of plays leapfrog between the two. The list view of the opportunity view is kind of helpful because if you do track sales opportunities, you can look at them all in this place. You can filter them if you'd like. You can choose export to Excel. And it takes all of these opportunities, puts them into a Excel spreadsheet, opportunities, pivot chart, pivot table, and so on. Other stuff we have, we've got the calendar view. The calendar view, like if I want to schedule for somebody, I can just click and drag. There's Diego, I just put him there. I can maybe call this sales call, and then that goes right under the activity tab for that person. The task list right below this is a tabular view, and so I can look and say, hey, what am I doing this week? And there's my list of things to do this week. Let me go back to the contact view. I want to show you some things. Let me talk about what is new here. All right, Workspace tour, we did that real fast. Dashboards, we'll come back and talk about this a little bit, but there's reports and dashboards as well. Okay, so some things that are new in ACT 2013. If you see this next icon right here, talks about the 4 areas that they've done some improvements or changes to ACT. Mobility, social media, e-marketing, smart tasks. Briefly, here's what they are. Mobility is called ACT Premium Mobile. It's a piece that fits on a web server and allows you to get to your ACT database from iPads, Android phones, and so on. It does require a web server. It is not something that it's not something that a single user would typically use, but if you've got a web server or you're using ACT for web, it's real easy to set up, or it's fairly simple to set up. Social media, they've done some changes here. We're able to see the last 25 LinkedIn updates or 25 Facebook updates per person. E-marketing, with that we have is part of SwiftPage. So SwiftPage is the company that bought ACT, and this component of it allows us to, it's an additional subscription, but it allows us to see, who clicked when, how many times did you click, did you forward the message, and it assigns a score to somebody if based upon the types of clicks that they did. So that's a paid subscription, but they've done a lot to enhance that this version. Smart tasks is workflow. So basically, if I have a new client, I add them to the database. Workflow or smart task takes a look at this is what's happened, and it'll change the status of from prospect to customer. If a certain criteria has been met, it'll schedule a task. It can send some marketing emails. It does not send personalized emails, so be aware of that. All right, so here's mobility. We talked a little bit about this, and really the reason they're doing this is because everybody's going mobile. We all carry a phone with us. We carry a tablet, iPad, laptop. Very few people are in an office all the time working with ACT. So, this, and so it's important to be able to take as much with us as we can. And more of these statistics, everybody's got a smartphone. Nobody's got an old bag phone anymore. Everybody's connected and somehow. In fact, in our house, we don't have a home phone number anymore. We just have mobile phones. People taking less vacation, working more hours, but they need to be connected at the gym, connected at the restaurant. And kind of our hosting option that we've kind of thrown in kind of extends that, because if I'm at the gym and I need to send a quote to somebody, I can log into our Citrix virtual desktop and pull up my quoting package and send a quote. Or I can send an email or get to my Outlook or get to my ACT or get to anything from any device. So that's the Premium Mobile. It gives you real-time access. There's no syncing. It works on a web server, and it's included with Sage ACTI Premium 2013. One of the things they've added this year is they've added sales opportunities, so you can look both at the contacts themselves or the sales opportunities. It does not currently do groups, does not currently do companies. It does calendar, opportunities, and contacts. All right, next thing is this designed for Teams, and so you see the different types of devices. Now, for folks that are buying Macs, you can use ACT for web with a Mac. It will not integrate with the mail tools and or Office on a Mac. It requires Windows programs to do that, but our Citrix piece, if you'd like that, works on Macs as well. And this is the premium. So if you're a single user, a lot of this is built into the premium. Sage ACTI Connect is what Sage has for single users. It's a subscription of about $69 a year. And with that, you're able to sync your data to a cloud server, which will then bounce it down to your device. My only challenge I've had with that is that, you know, anything that syncs with only a couple of exceptions tends to cause duplicates if it doesn't work right or if it breaks, and this is no exception. Companion Link, Sage ACTI Connect, both are syncing tools, and they work most of the time, but if it does break, you need to be aware that it'll cause a duplicate, and you need to know how to fix that. The Companion Link, or the handheld contact, which is one that we typically use, does not, in our experience, make duplicates, and so it's a little better in terms of reliability. Mobility options, here's some options that come with this. So if you've got Pro, you can use Sage ACTI Connect. If you've got Premium, it's the Premium Mobile. Social media, this is the part that, you know, a lot of people are doing. You know, so if I work in something, you know, so for example, regular insurance, or if I work in mortgage, or, you know, anywhere where I just come across a lot of people and I need to know a little bit about them, and maybe perhaps to build credibility, ACT is really great for that, because I can see my last, you know, so many updates to Facebook and LinkedIn, and ACT will also publish out updates to LinkedIn and Twitter, and LinkedIn and Facebook. And I'll show you some of this in just a second. So it's kind of handy if you're trying to identify who you're talking to, who you're working with, what they've, you know, where they went to school, who their friends are. If you have any connections with them, it's helpful to do that. Most businesses use social media. In fact, the way that marketing is done now has changed from an interruption marketing, where you go, knock, knock, you need any of this today, to more of an inbound marketing, where we try to just be really ready when somebody needs us, and able to respond appropriately that way. And so social media is a big part of that. The social updates tab, this is under, there's a tab called social updates now. This is where you can see, like I said, the last 25 updates. It is subject to the friend criteria, meaning if you're not friends with somebody, if they have a security setting to lock you up or knock you off or not give you access, you won't be able to see. You only see what they've given you access to. E-marketing, you know, so the Swift page part of ACT, the Sage ACTI Connect, is it's a subscription piece, but it's pretty helpful. So you know, we use it to send out info stuff to our newsletters and things like that. It can run anywhere from $15 or $16 a month to about $60 a month, but really seems to be a good return on the investment. Some of the things that they've done, they've added some additional templates, integrates with ACT. The best thing about this over other tools like Constant Contact or MailChimp is just the fact that it integrates directly into ACT. And you can pay as you go. You can turn it on for a month or two. You can turn it off. You can turn it on for one person. You can turn it on for the whole team. And like I said, it reports back into ACT. So if I'm going to have an event, and I want to invite everybody to it. It's really easy to see who came and what they looked at and how they clicked and that sort of stuff. So the social sharing allows you to share updates to LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter just by pushing a button, and that's part of the SwiftPage piece. Here's the price sheet starting at $15 a month for 250 emails a day, and you'll see what's included there and what's not, up to the Pro and the Team, which include 1,000 emails a day for up to several people using the system. They can share the emails going out. Smart Tasks, we'll do a webinar on this, but this one basically talks about workflow. It helps you automate some of the things that you do every day. So for example, if I add a new contact, I want to make sure I schedule a follow-up. It'll do that. If I want to send a drip marketing campaign that talks about our business, we can do that. Things that they did this year is they allowed them to run offline. So in the earlier years when they had them, it would go, but ACT had to be open, and so now it will run offline for you. See the little tool here? It's kind of cool to see this diagram. So for example, here's one on territory alignment. You see a start point, you see an action item, you see what happens at every stage in the process. And it's kind of handy to help you manage your contacts. They've done a couple of things. They made it a little easier to download and install, easier to pick up if you need to. If an installation doesn't work right, it's easier to correct from that. And they just tried to make it easier for people to do stuff without needing professional help. This is a real handy, kind of a real handy sheet to look at because it lists some of the new features version by version by version. So if we go back, I always like to look at some of the stuff I really consider super handy. 2009 was Outlook integration and related contacts. 2010, the web info tab, new reports view, customizable opportunities. They made opportunities their own entity. You see, Smart Tasks came in 2011, but they really weren't done cooking yet. So we waited a couple years before we really started using them. But the other thing that was kind of cool in 2011 is the ability to synchronize Outlook, calendar, and contacts, to import directly from Excel without a text file, operations with Office 2010, which consequently 2013 ACT will work with Windows 8. In fact, my machine here is Windows 8, but it does not work yet with Office 2013. So be careful of that. Put Office 2010 on for now until they're ready to support that. 2012, Premium Mobile came out, but it really wasn't, that's something they're going to keep working on. But the sales opportunities part of it this year is really worth having. Social sharing, Scratchpad, Universal Search. Universal Search is kind of neat because it'll search the whole database, including attachments. Google Calendar and Google Contacts Sync. And finally this year, some other things. Smart Tasks really kind of matured this year to be used. Offline Smart Tasks is important. Mobile is important. New widgets for making remotes. If you sync, it's a lot easier to sync now with that. Different ways that we help you, or that you can use ACT remotely, because that's important. We can host it. You can have it on premise. In fact, ACT is really one of the best tools out there for giving you a choice of either on-premise or off-premise. There's a lot that's going on about software as a service and in the cloud and that kind of stuff. But if you need an offline access because you drive around the country and you need to get to it offline, it's not always best to have that type. And so ACT gives us both options of on-premise or cloud. And as a hosted provider, we'll make it where you don't even have to have the servers. All right, some stuff, Pro versus Premium. The basic thing I would say here, Premium has workgroup features. It costs extra, but it has workgroup features. Typically, we sell it anybody above 3 users. 1 or 2, you're fine with Pro. If you need the the remote access to it, you need the web access, you need premium. If you've got a team of more than 3 or 4 users, you probably need the premium. Pro, you can never grow higher than 10. Never can. And really because of some of the extra features in terms of backups and stability and team features, workgroup features, premium starts to make sense after 3 or 4 users. All right, here's a little thing on the cloud, and we'll set this up and you can use it usually same day, pay as you go. You can add features of service, and we won't do much of these. Social media, accounting, Microsoft Office, web apps. So Sage ACTI Connect and Sage eMarketing are both these features you can add as a service. Business care, the best thing about that is it gets you newer versions every year when they come out, and one of the things they're doing right now is offering for I think half price. You can get an upgrade to newer versions of ACT. ACT has what's called a N+2 or current +2 obsolescence policy. So what that means right now is that 2013 ACT is out right now. If you own 2013, 2012, 2011, you get upgrade pricing. If you have something older, 2010, 29, whatever, you'd have to pay full version price. And so generally we tell folks either to get on the upgrade assurance or to upgrade about every 2 years or so. Other things business care comes with it. For example, you can get support through business care. You can get the software updates. Lots of features there. You know, support from ACT directly is a good thing a lot of times if you've got a lot of questions and don't mind getting a call center. We do support a lot of folks and are happy to do that, but it's hard for me to compete on price with that just because we don't have a call center like they do, and nobody in India picking up the phone and answering your calls. Next thing, so let me stop and I'll flip over to my demo, and I'm also going to unmute you. Any questions while I have you here?